It's back to the 90s, bro. It's back to the 90s. This is what's happening. We have Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff being hired as executive directors for both Raw and SmackDown. And when I got the news, everybody was thinking about, like, is it a word? Is it a storyline? Is it like an on-screen GM role? No, this is a real position where all the creative and all the direction of the show is going through them, and they report by just them as representatives of Raw and SmackDown to Vince McMahon. So they are giving a lot of power to the show. So you can kind of look at it as a job for like Triple H at NXT.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of funny because if you think back in the day, Paul Heyman was the general manager of SmackDown for a little bit, and Eric Bischoff was the general manager of Raw.
Yeah.
But now since we got this thing going on, I don't know how good this is going to be in the long run. I don't know, because once again, at the end of the day, they still got to report to Vince. You know, and then after, they tell Vince idea. If Vince don't like the idea, or don't like the way that they would go with something, Vince has the power to change the whole show. But since his power is going to be kind of dwindling down, because we have the XFL coming up in about the next 6 months, which we still have not heard nothing more about. So we gonna see how successful that's going to be.
I think he's being purposely quiet about that this time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Part Time, we'll start with you as a wrestling fan. What is your reaction to Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff being executive directors for both Raw and SmackDown?
I think they both have very creative minds, so like they can bring some stuff to the table. Even though they answer to Vince, I think the first couple of weeks or the first like month or so, Vince will probably back off just to see how they do ratings wise. But I think, like, for example, I think one thing that they can do is they can take, for some people, they can take away the scripted word by word promos, because I think some people that don't help. So if they could do that and different stuff in the area, I think it'll be all right.
Okay. Lady Sketch, let me ask you. Somebody was starting to answer there, so I'm not sure if you know the positions or the backgrounds of Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman in their business sense to make an opinion. But hearing this news, how's it do it for you?
Well, I know about Paul Heyman's business sense with ECW. See how that turned out. But
yeah.
No, I'm not as familiar with Bischoff per se. Only like the roles he had in WWE later on. But I didn't get too excited about it when I saw it, because I know when it comes down to it, Vince is going to be pulling the strings. So they could give him something that would be a stellar show. And then, let's face it, Vince is a senile old man. And he'll be like, I don't like it, and change it. And then I could see him flipping it and turning it on its head. Like, well, see, now it didn't work. I'm like, but you changed everything. I could very well see that happening. Because, I mean, at this point, it's like it feels like they're desperate for something new. But they're not, you're going to be doing the same thing. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is literally the definition of insanity. So, but I can definitely see that happening. So, I mean, we'll see if it turns around. I'm not going to keep my hopes up until the product actually shows a difference.
Yeah.
Simply because until Vince is not in charge, I don't see any major changes coming.
Okay.
I mean, I'd love to eat my words, but
I mean that is fair. Also, a lot of people have been concerned because they're surprised Bischoff was the one that's going to SmackDown, because SmackDown's got that Fox deal, that $1 billion deal coming up in October.
Well, I can tell you right now, we about to see like 4 or 5 factions form on SmackDown.
Yeah. Bischoff is the faction
Bischoff
guy.
love them factions. Yep.
He do those factions. I will say this, because a lot of times people don't give credit where credit is due because of how they feel about somebody. And you know, when I read these positions, I said, you know, if Vince lets them do it, I think it can work out for both of them. I was just telling my wife earlier, I think Paul Heyman has the better wrestling mind, but I think Eric Bischoff has the better corporate business mind.
Understandable, yeah.
So
he did,
yeah. Now, you know, people gotta understand that Eric Bischoff took the grungy WCW that was falling apart. I mean, at the time Bischoff took it over, WCW was almost falling apart the way Impact is. So, you know, they were going under different presidents and management damn near year after year. Then we just got off the whole Bill Watts no over the top rope rule and all that kind of stuff like that. And it was in a very bad place. And Jim Crockett had to sell the promotion and it became WCW. So him convincing Ted Turner to give them 2 hours on TNT to go head to head with WCW was also established as well, but going against the WWF, that was, you know, ballsy at that. And for him to create a product and business wise to help, you know, draw in new fans along with diehard wrestling fans is smart. Now, once again, like I said, Turner just gave him the money and let Bischoff do what the fuck he wanted to do. You know, so that was a pro and con of that, because if you look at some of the production that Bischoff put in WCW, WWE took them ideas. WWE wasn't doing fireworks before WCW was doing fireworks. You know, and then there was you know, WWF wasn't doing corner camera angles like WCW was back at that time.
Yeah, well, one thing I wish that WCW didn't do was have the people stand on the apron with the that camera angle was dangerous to me.
Yeah, I understand that too. Now, Paul Heyman, on the other hand, where Paul Heyman, with his production and business side, wasn't the greatest, but especially with the ECW production it was, but when it came to wrestling storylines,
you know, when he started writing for SmackDown and all that era was fantastic.
Exactly, because that's when they had the SmackDown 6 going on, and then they had all that other stuff. SmackDown in 2002 and 2003 was nothing to fuck with. It wasn't nothing to fuck with at all. And
that's when I was watching it.
Huh?
That's when I was watching it.
Oh yeah, so I can definitely see him. Like, I really see when it comes to Raw, a lot of guys who weren't getting that kind of shine is now going to, like, things are going to be a little bit more meaningful now to where he does it. And I don't know, like, according to the stuff I was reading, like, as of the Raw that came on, we'll record this tonight, and the show that comes on tomorrow, they already got their handprints on some of this stuff.
Okay.
And if you look at some of the way things have been doing, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that. And I'm like, now there's a rumor going around that saying 205 Live's probably coming to an end. Yes. That's Bischoff Wheelhouse. He like, give me the cruiserweights because I used the cruiserweights before. And then I can see once again, you are right about that. Bischoff does create, like I said, Bischoff is one of the guys that he got good ideas, but when a good idea gets stale, he'll know how to let it go.
I'm telling you, we gotta have like 5 factions. It's gonna be like the Immortal and Frontline and all that all over again. It
probably is. He takes credit for Aces and Eights, which was not that great. It helped out Bully Ray, but you do have to get credit with the Goldberg, the whole Goldberg. You have to give him credit for the storyline of Sting and the NWO, even though it did not pay off as well. But you know, the whole storyline was great. And
yeah, but he did some good things though, honestly.
Yeah, he did. So that's why I'm not really mad at that, especially when you go into a Fox executive seat. Now, a lot of people don't understand. They're going to Fox. Fox wants a more gritty, sports-related show, opposed to Raw. Raw is going to sell itself regardless, because it's Raw. It's been around for 30-some years. So when you get to SmackDown, remember when Bischoff took over WCW, we went from Too Cold Scorpio stepping to Scott Hall coming through the crowd in jeans and beating up on their personality, and we thought it was an actual invasion. He brought the greenness, he brought the realness, he actually brought wrestlers using their real name to the company. And I think that's the realness and the greenness that Fox is probably trying to look for. And I think if that's the case, Bischoff could be your guy for that. Dude, but
I think
I'm listening.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead, say it.
No, I'm just gonna say, like, I know the people at Fox are more. They wanted to be more like a sports show, so I think Bischoff will be the one that can help them in that aspect, like you said. But I still think they need something else to help them with that, to get that sports aspect.
What should they need? Like more legit kind of athletes, or more athletes written better, or?
I mean, for me personally, if they want to do more of a sports-based show, I think they should tone. They should have more, like, not longer matches, but like they should have actual matches, not like those how they've been doing over the past couple weeks, where they have like a 2-minute match.
Okay, so basically saying like have more technical or more like indie style matches.
Not even that, just have more action, because since they don't want to really have all that talking. At least more action, more wrestling.
So
because I did a study of Raw, and like Raw is 3 hours. Out of all 3 hours, they got like maybe less than an hour of actual wrestling on the show.
Yeah, for a wrestling show, you need more wrestling, but you also you have to give us stars and characters that we care about.
That is also true.
You can't just, I mean, if somebody who's new to the SmackDown scene starts watching SmackDown on Fox and they see a match between, just throwing out names here, Cesaro and Samoa Joe, they're going to wonder, first of all, they're going to want, it's wrestling, I think people have to treat wrestling like wrestling. And the thing is, you need to know the backgrounds. You need to know why these two guys are fighting. Because I don't think just throwing two randoms out there for wrestling fans to be like, oh, that would be a great match for somebody who completely doesn't know what's going on. You got to be able to tell a story. Now, I'm not saying you need the New Day out there tossing pancakes every week. You can nip that shit in the butt. I'm not saying you have to go do like what was it, Sonya Deville breaking Ember Moon's Nintendo Switch. You don't need that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, but you can have backstage segments and backstage storylines to help make sense for your product.
That actually means something.
That actually means something. Yes. Go out, to help tell the story of what's going on. So I don't know.
Or develop a character.
What'd you say?
Yeah. Or develop a character.
Yes. And stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you develop the character and people stick with it and they see the rise of the character, they get there. It's easy for them to get behind that character.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think they'll be okay if they keep going in a different direction. Like, different is always interesting. Don't mean it's always good, but it's interesting because people are gonna be invested in the first couple of tries. When you do something different.
You're right.
And we'll see.
So we'll see what goes on with that. I'm actually very excited to see how things are going to turn out and work out for these things. Even if we get so many fucking factions on SmackDown, at least I know Bischoff is taking over some.
It was like I heard a rumor that who was it? Cesaro, EC3, and somebody else.
Bobby Roode.
We're trying to start a faction where they're what do they call it? The main event muscle men or something like that. That's
so stupid. See, they need a better name, honestly.
That reminds me of Main Event Mafia. You remember Main Event Mafia?
Somebody
yes, honestly, if they come out all in suits, I think that would be a good faction. Just need a name change.
Yeah.
Somebody said they just drop the men, it might sound better. If they just do Main Event Muscle,
yeah,
that might roll a little bit off the tongue.
Yeah, I mean, it may. I'm just saying, but because every time I hear Main Event, I just take it back to that main event Mafia from TNA.
Man,
it had good people.
I don't care what y'all saying, bro. I don't care what y'all say. I love main event Mafia. It was entertaining.
Look, main event Mafia was good. You know what the biggest problem with main event Mafia was?
They won all the time.
Sting.
Oh, well, yeah, Sting.
Sting was the biggest problem main event Mafia that I did. Like, I was just like, how are you trying to be a babyface in a heel group?
I thought you was gonna say because they won all the time. Cause they had like all the titles at one time, didn't they?
That's NWO shit. Every time Bischoff, that's NWO shit. I wasn't surprised. It's like kind of I want the Undisputed Era to win all the championships. I like when dominant factions win championships. It's just.
And then I think they did the same thing for like Fortune too. Cause
yeah,
you know.
I really did like Fortune. Now Fortune was Big Money, AJ Styles, and Desmond Wolfe. AKA
and then that was good. Anyways, we off track. My bad.
No, it's all good. So best luck to them in the future.